To access the Vendor Center, click the blue word Vendors on the home screen. The Vendor Center is similar to the Customer Center. You can see that I already have 2 vendors in here when we created our sales tax items in a previous video. I can select any of them and their information will appear on the right-hand side. As much information as I have about that vendor will appear. For example, I can see what type of vendor it is, what their address is, and I can get a map to their office if I want. Directly under that, I can see all of the transactions for that vendor. If I click the down arrow next to all transactions, I can filter it, such as any payments that I've sent them, any purchase orders I have with them, bills they've sent me, and checks that I've written to them. I can also further fine-tune it. I can click the drop-down next to all under date and choose a particular date range. For example, if I wanted to find out how much money I've given to a certain vendor over a certain amount of time. Also, just like with customers, I can navigate through these tabs and set up contacts, to-dos, and notes. To create a new item under the to-dos, contacts, and notes, I can select it, choose Manage, and then click Add New. For now, however, let's create a new vendor. On the top left-hand side of the screen, click New Vendor, and then choose New Vendor again. From here, we can enter as much or as little as we want to about that vendor. You can put in their name, their opening balance, and you can come down below and put in even more detail. You can put in their address details. You can copy over to the shipping address by clicking Copy. The address gets pasted in and click the OK button. From here, you can navigate through the tabs on the left and further fine-tune this vendor. If I click Payment Settings, if they've given me an account number, I can put that in here. I can also put in a credit limit. You can choose the payment terms that they have with you. And as this is a vendor and you'll be paying them, you can specify how QuickBooks should put their name on a check. Let's head over into tax settings. If you've sent enough money to this vendor over the course of the year that you need to create a 1099 and report it to the IRS, you can place a check mark next to Vendor is eligible for 1099. The vendor will also need to provide their tax ID if they're a corporation or their social security number if they're a sole proprietor. These are things that the vendor will have to provide to you. I'm going to go over 1099s in more detail in a later video. You can click on Account Settings. Here is where you can choose any expense accounts to pre-populate when you enter bills. You don't have to do this. This is just to save you time. For example, if the vendor does advertising for you, you can pre-select the Advertising and Promotion expense account. Finally, under Additional Info, you can choose the vendor types that we set up in the last video. I'll click the blue OK button. Our vendor has been created, and we can see all their information on the right-hand side.